Alex Barcelo, welcome back to Zealot's podcast. So much has been going on. I just want to chime in with a few little nuggets. It's been about a week since the horrific killing of a mother in Minneapolis by an ICE agent who, curiously enough, is also a dude on Grindr. I've always found it funny that every time there's a Republican National Convention, the Grindr website crashes. I just think that's so indicative of the hypocrisy of one side of the political spectrum. Not to say that the other is not guilty of equal stupidity, but there's only one side that is vehemently anti fill in the blank that would trigger the humor of the crashing Grinder. Okay, I have a new obsession. My new obsession is watching C-SPAN. I was super excited to see that whatever streaming service I use, and don't ask, because I have no idea. I just push the button and make it happen. But I can now watch three different channels of C-SPAN. Yesterday we were watching, and it was really funny because I had the opportunity to watch Pete Hegseth go visit Elon Musk down in Space City or whatever the hell he calls the part of Texas that he managed to incorporate despite the objections of the people that actually live there. He's got his own city in Texas now. Yay. Yay. Thank you, Greg Abbott. Insane. But anyway, so there's Pete Hegseth. First, he stops in San Antonio to do photo ops with Who Cares? And then he goes down and he's doing the whole, oh, like Pete Hegseth ever watched Star Trek as a kid, but he's doing the whole live long and prosper Spock as if he's one of us. I was a Trekkie when I was a kid. I remember going on the Jerry Lewis telethon. We had raised money all throughout our neighborhood and showed up at the station for whoever was broadcasting at the time. And we're like, we're here for the Trekkies of Houston. I get it. Pete Hegseth, no idea. So we're watching him deliver his speech. And there were two things because I'm watching and I'm listening to the undercurrent of what he's saying. He stands and he's preaching this and that and technology and AI, and we got to get ahead and we don't have to stay behind because we're going to lose it. And what we're developing now is going to be obsolete in 10 years by the time to develop it and over budget, blah, blah, blah. One, it's creepy because watching him speak, and I challenge anybody out there, including my all 15 followers, we're trying to grow, but we're going to run with 15 and call it that. Watch Hegseth speak and tell me it's not like watching a knockoff TED Talk. He's reading his teleprompters, the crap that Republicans used to mock Obama for. Shame on them. Here he is reading it's a freaking TED Talk. That being said, because give the man credit, he looks good. He belongs on TV where he belongs, where he came from, and he needs to go back there and shut up and go be a talking head on Fox or Newsmax or Onan Network, whatever you want to call him. That's where he belongs. Anyway, watching him talk, give his little TED talk, you got to listen to what he's really saying. Yes, innovation, great, blah, blah, whatever. I'm sorry I say blah, blah, a lot because I don't want to get off track. Too late. The undercurrent, the true message that he's delivering is I've now appointed one man to be in charge of all decisions when it comes to new technology or technological innovations in the Department of Defense. Sorry, the Department of War. No, Department of Defense. And then he's got one person that's going to be in charge of all that. We're not going to go to committees anymore. We're not going to get groups to decide what's going to happen. I've got one guy. I've appointed one man to make all these decisions for the U.S. military. Tell me that's not rife for corruption. They might as well just give the guy's phone number out so all the military industrial complex knows exactly who to call, who to bribe in order to get their crap pushed through to sign their sweetheart deals with the Defense Department. Elon Musk is doing it. The biggest teat sucker, make sure TEAT, teat sucker on the federal government is Elon Musk, Mr. Doge himself, Mr. Waste, Fraud, and Abuse. He's the biggest recipient of government, I'll call it welfare. He's the biggest one out there. And he's the one that was in charge of cutting all the waste, fraud, and abuse, right? Go figure. So here's Here's my joy of watching C-SPAN. One, you get to watch TED Talks with Pete Hegseth, and then you get to watch people on the floor of the House of Representatives. For example, Chip Roy, right now, Chip Roy from Texas. Holy God, he's out there. He's got two placards, one with 5 pictures of lovely white Americans, one with 18 pictures of dark people. And first, he spent all his time talking about how dare Democrats speak out against ICE. And he's offering quotes from Jasmine Crockett, and I can't think of the other people off the top of my head. He's offering names. All these Democrats are coming out and saying the truth, that ICE is out of control, that ICE is instigating violence, that ICE is more or less an armed militia force of a fascist government. They are there to enforce and inflict pain and suffering on communities. That's kind of what they're doing, and it's really hard to argue that's not what they're doing, especially when you see that little neo-Nazi looking dude that's running ICE marching through Target demanding things. Right? He's got his little bird cut. So first he gets up there and condemns any Democrat that's come out and spoken out against ICE and what's been happening, like the murder of the woman in Minneapolis, the woman who was shot square in the face by some GI Joe wannabe in an ICE outfit, illegal immigrants, to pretend like that's the source of all crime in America. Think of JD Vance and the whole Haitians are eating cats and dogs up there, or the reason that houses cost so much is because of illegal immigrants. All of these are provably false, demonstrably false. They're nothing more than messaging. We're going to get to that. Pushed by the right in order to convince willing people that want to believe that their problems are somebody else's fault. This is where it's coming from. So they get up there and they spout this. And so here's Chip Roy, multi term, forgive me. No, no, doggy. No, no, doggies. Multi term member of the House of Representatives, up there delivering, spewing hate speech against Democrats, claiming that Democrats are responsible for all crime in America that's committed by illegal immigrants. Oddly enough, funnily enough, I don't know, when he started spouting off names of someone, where they were from, the crime they committed, and when their deportation had been ordered, I lost count of the number of these people, his props, who had deportation orders issued during the Trump administration or issued prior to the Trump administration, his first Trump 1.0 or whatever you want to call it, where any time those people could have been deported had Trump been serious about deportations. He never was. It's all theater right now. Theater that is leading to the tragic execution, yes, execution of Americans, the arrest of Americans, detained, pulled out of their cars, forced to prove their status in America. Madness. I'm sorry, but we don't live in a papers only country. We don't live in a country where you have to carry your papers to prove your citizenship. That's not how this country was founded, and that's not how it's developed for the last 249 years, and sure as hell shouldn't be what we want to see in the future. Papers. Papers, please? God, it's like East Berlin. Anyway, it's worthwhile to watch C-SPAN and know they don't pay me, although if they want to cut me a check for singing their praises, I will. But it's really fun to go in there and watch and see what people have to say on the floor of the House, or to watch to see what they have to say on the floor of the Senate, or to watch one of Pete Hegseth's TED Talks, right? He flew into San Antonio and made some who cares where and what he had to say. Honestly, who cares? When you hear him up there spouting about war fighters and the new macho ethic, I would quote Shakespeare and speak of the lady doth protest too much, methinks. But we all know that the people that have to espouse their own manhood are the ones that are truly lacking in manhood. Those that want to play macho are in their hearts and souls not macho at all. So you have the madness of targeting Somalis in Minneapolis by some little right wing troll, and all the crap that he was doing turns out to be false. I don't know about any sort of fraud that was happening there. with the misappropriation of government funds. I get that. And if it's true, whoever was responsible for it should be punished. Just in the same way that any Democrat that was involved in the disgusting, despicable actions of Jeffrey Epstein and his little cohorts and supporters, they should be punished. You don't hear Democrats on one side saying, oh no, don't look at Clinton. We want to save him. Hell, every Democrat I know and every publicly elected Democratic official is like, if he's in there and he did something wrong, punish him. The same is true and not on the other side. Give credit to Republicans. They know how to circle the wagons. They know how to stick true to the message. They know how to make sure that they are all one solid front. I would consider it a front to an America that I learned about when I was a kid. With all its warts, with all its flaws, it's still a kick ass country, and it's still an experiment in governance that had never been attempted before and is so unique in what it is and how it was founded and why it was founded. Was it Reagan, I think, that talked about you can go to Germany and become a citizen, but you won't be a German? And you can go to Italy, but you won't be an Italian, but you can come to America and you can become an American, because that's the founding principles of our country, something that's hopelessly getting lost. Back to Chip Roy, that little bearded troll, as he's pointing out the 18 people or whoever had on his scroll board that he was arguing that it's Democrats' fault that those people committed those crimes. And the 5 white Americans who died at the hands of illegal immigrants. Pause for a second and think, how many crimes are committed by Americans against Americans? Second, third generation. Pure blood Americans that date back to however long you want to go. They're committing crimes, they're murdering each other, they're getting drunk and running each other over, they're doing all sorts of horrible things day in, day out. This idea that somehow crime by illegal immigrants outweighs crime by Native Americans. Sorry, step back. American citizens. Sorry, don't want to offend anybody. That's somehow a greater scourge than just everyday crime on our streets. All the murders that occur, all the drunk driving killings, all the gun violence that occurs in America with American on American crime. And somehow what's happening with illegal immigrants right now, that you want to rope them up and send them off to some prison camp in another country or ship them to a country they never, let's send them to Africa. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm sorry, what? It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all a distraction so that you don't notice that the current administration is establishing a fascist totalitarian state in America, and he's doing it with the help and the blessing of all his party's people that surround him. And by taking advantage of our failed educational system to where people don't know any better, they're buying Chip Roy's garbage hook, line, and sinker. They watch a TED talk by Pete Hegseth and they go, oh my God, he's really got us in heart. They watch fumbling, bumbling, farty President Trump and think that guy really cares about me. It doesn't take much effort and it doesn't take much research to figure out that none of those people give a crap about the average American citizen. This is all about the consolidation of power. We need to wake up. We need to stop them, they being the power grabbers. And one of the ways to do that is to focus on messaging. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back on it, and controlling the narrative. I'm going to touch on one of these points that drives me insane, and then I'll call it a day, and I'll come back and talk to you tomorrow. I hate the term tax and spend when it comes to Democrats. And here's why. Every government is tax and spend. Every government, every administration taxes the people and spends the money. I don't know about you, but if I'm going to pay taxes, I would rather those taxes go to feeding the poor, offering health care to the citizens. Yes, protecting our borders, absolutely, cutting down on crime. How about cutting down on gun violence? These things are worthy causes of tax and spend. But somehow, to the other side, to the power mongers, to the future fascists of America, if we spend our money, our $600 billion or however $600 million, I got lost there. How much money we're going to give to ICE, this weird rogue agency? We're going to arm all these people. We're going to give $60,000 signing bonuses and forgive student loans and all sorts of other insane stuff to create a paramilitary force within America that answers to no one but President Trump. We're going to have a $1 trillion military budget, the DoD that can't pass a single audit because the money is just flowing. When I was a kid, I remember the whole shock of $500 hammer. Yeah, it was $500 hammers, $1,000 toilets. And there was this outrage like the DoD is just screwing America and spending all this money. And there was big uproar and a big outrage. You don't hear that anymore. I guarantee we're probably spending $5,000 a hammer and $10,000 a toilet because that money is just flowing into the DoD and nobody answers for it and it just disappears. So, yeah, let's go ahead and give $60,000 signing bonuses to ICE agents who are, I don't know, G.I. Joe wannabes, maybe former soldiers, if they were even that, a whole bunch of racists and bigots and misogynists and incels, and they're dregs of society, the people that either don't have a job in order, in which case they're probably bitter at anybody that they can be bitter about. So, yeah, I'll go take that job. And then I'll go drive around the streets in an SUV armed to the teeth, spraying pepper spray in random people's faces. There was a great clip of some dude standing at the vigil for Ms. Good when she was killed, and an ICE agent walks right up to him and kicks over the candle and then stands right in his face and tells him to back off. You need to back off. And the poor dude is standing there like, I'm sorry, I didn't approach you. I was standing right here. You came and got all up in my face. That's the kind of people that are out there running ICE right now. So, yeah, let's cut that funding. Let's not give Christy Nome, Ice Barbie, whatever you want to call her, the clown that runs the Department of Homeland Security. Let's not give her $200 million worth of brand new jets so she can go zipping around. And my final point, Kash Patel, the troll that is in charge of the FBI for Mr. Make America Great, Mr. America First, Mr. I love, I keep hearing the phrase yam tits, and I'm sorry, it's just too funny to ignore. I like apoplectic tangerine, but that requires people to look up the word apoplectic. So let's go with yam tits. Mr. America, America First, American Made, whatever. Kash Patel, head of the FBI, ordered a bunch of armored BMWs. That's the new fleet that he wants for the FBI. German cars, armored German cars. Tell me that doesn't just stink of we're going to be a Nazi country soon. This coming from your friendly neighborhood rabbi, your hopelessly optimistic but often discouraged zealot. I wish you the best. Talk to you soon.